Welcome to the Weekly Pistol Podcast. At the end of this hour, we want you better than when we started.
All right, take two. What's good? What's good? I didn't say it. I did not say it.
That's some restraint.
In my defense, I'm a little congested. So, and I don't have whiskey. So, it's been a while since our last podcast. Veronica pointed out sometime in September. And we got a special guest in the studio who's going to remain anonymous so long as I don't talk, which I probably won't because I don't particularly sound good, which I don't think anybody's going to complain. So somewhere in the Midwest is where you're from. You're down visiting us because you're not only our number one fan, but our only fan.
Not to be confused with OnlyFans.
And we're still working on Veronica's OnlyFans. It's just feet. It's just feet.
Though, right?
It's just feet. She's wearing boots today.
But I have like my socks.
Oh! She's showing leg, people. This was a day to have camera.
No camera for
No
nobody.
camera, and it's all leg. Wow.
The socks.
But what? He's the only one that's going to listen to this, so he better make it good.
Right.
Well, I don't know. We're going to get a lot of bad comments. The one time we don't have a camera, Veronica over here is putting her leg, like she's in a skirt. She's like, "Hey guys, look at my socks." Those are socks?
I saw something else.
I don't know. They weren't white. I'm just going to say that now. Okay, so we brought the homie in from the Midwest who supported us for many years now. We were out there? We've talked about it somewhere between 2015 and 2016.
Yeah.
He took a chance on us, calls us up in a short story. I'll do a real short narrative. He calls us and asks what we do. And then I'm like, we talk about our critical incidents. And then he's like, that's what you do? Like, you got a PowerPoint you can send us? I'm like, no PowerPoint. You want us to come talk? And he's like asking for contracts and shit. And so I appreciate you coming out. You came out here specifically to kick back with me, and you got off the plane and you said you didn't have COVID. We believed you.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out when we're all fucking testing positive in a week. So you came in on Friday. You met up with me and Ray and Veronica. They were kind enough to show up and show the hospitality. And during that time frame, like we always do, we start chopping it up about work and differences from here to other departments and stuff, which Veronica's always said it doesn't really change. I think we can all agree it doesn't matter where the fuck you're from in this world. Mental health is not something that is priority anywhere, especially for first responders, right?
Yep.
So while we're enjoying beverages at your hotel, Veronica comes up with the idea that let's do a podcast. And Ray, who's been on our podcast and done many podcasts, brings up a pretty good particular point about supervising, right, on a critical incident. And you had a particular, it wasn't a bad thing. I think it was probably a really good, constructive opinion as to what the supervisor did. And we're not going to bash anybody, so don't think that. But I'll let you guys take it, Ray, as far as, if you want, just a brief we have already done your critical incident. We'll do the one that did it, so don't go over it. So let's start with, 25, 30 seconds after the shooting that took place.
So after the shooting takes place and supervisor arrives on scene, he's doing his job. You're right. There's no bashing here. He's just doing his job, and he takes over command. I had command until he got on scene, and he takes over and just starts going over a critical incident checklist, just checking off everything you got to do, notify everybody, call everybody. And if somebody listening hasn't been involved in a shooting before, if you're the shooter, you have to get removed from everybody. You have to just be by yourself and be isolated. And for me, that's kind of where the first problem started with the supervision. Even though I know he was doing his job, I've read the checklist before. He was doing his job, but after all that flood of emotions and adrenaline dump once you're done with your shooting and you're processing what's happening to get isolated. He became who I focused on as letting me down right off the bat.
So before we ask our guest, just a quick background in your career. How many years you got on?
16.
All same agency or just kind of sprinkled around?
16 to 1, 3 with another one.
So you're tenured. You got plenty of time. And you're currently a supervisor.
Correct.
Sergeant.
Yep.
You responded to shootings.
Yep.
Critical incidents. You're also pretty heavy in the union.
Yeah.
So you've got a good perspective.
Many different hats.
Yeah. So real quick, Ray, when you were talking about that 25 or 30 seconds afterwards, and you said you had the scene, what did the supervisor, in your opinion, do correctly for you? Correctly first, if anything.
I've never been asked that. I can't think of anything at that moment. No, he didn't do anything correctly for me. That's a tough question. He was doing a checklist, and he did the checklist right. On a personal note, there's just no interaction with me.
Okay, so in Mesa, when we had a critical incident and an officer was involved in a shooting, they weren't, I wouldn't say segregated, but they had somebody assigned to them, right? So you had somebody next to you the whole time. They got them off scene. That didn't happen with you?
No, that did happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, to just get to it. So right off the bat, he never approached me to check on me. He knew I was okay. He knew I hadn't been shot. But I didn't get so much as, hey, Ray, are you okay? And I think that was the first sting. Like, I know you're doing your job, but there's a human side to this, and you're missing that one right off the bat.
Are you thinking that? Are you saying that's what's happening now? Then, like right in the incident, it mattered to you? Like you noticed he didn't come over and check on you, or you're just doing the thinking about it now?
No, that's a great question, because that's something we talked about earlier. Reflecting back on the incident, it's easy to critique it 5 years later. No, I thought that at that moment. Like, literally my words in my head were, motherfucker, I just dodged a bunch of rounds and you can't even give me are you okay? I know you're doing a checklist. I know you got to stay away from me, but I'm still a fucking human being. And so that hurt a little bit. That was the first one that just kind of stung.
So
did that make you feel almost invisible or not a priority to him at that time?
I can't think of the right word, and maybe this will explain it better. I saw squad mates walking around. The same thing. They couldn't talk to me. I had another agency, Phoenix PD, one of their sergeants was my handler, basically. And so all my other guys were walking around, and everybody's giving me that look of, we want to say something, but we can't, and we don't even know what to say. Like, I could see that in their face.
Well, this is what I never understood. You might not be able to, you can still go up to the dude that shot or whatever and say, how are you doing? Can I get you something? It's something like that. Not, oh, dude, what fucking happened? What, who'd you smoke? Stupid shit.
Right.
But why can they not come up to you and say, put a hand on your shoulder, dude, you need anything? Are you all right? Just fucking, we're still like, you still have to be caught, concerned, or I don't know.
Human?
I just thought I always thought that with Mesa, when somebody would get in a shooting and they'd assign a person to you, but it didn't seem like all they did was stand by you, and it wasn't even like nothing good was, it was like bizarre.
So
Everyone
there's a
had to
couple of
sit all
things
quiet.
before we get too further into our guest's perspective. One, you had already relayed that an officer was shot.
Right.
So, not to sound like an asshole, but where in the pecking order does concern in your mind, because he's got a downed officer, pretty critical, is he barking orders from miles away, or does he start taking command when he gets there?
That was a mistake on his part. He did start barking orders while he was still en route. That bothered me a lot. One, I think it's Supervisor 101. You don't say shit till you get on scene at a scene like that. This isn't a traffic collision. It's, one of your guys are down. Because of my radio traffic, you knew I'm doing first aid on this guy. Stay off the radio. So yeah, that was problem number one. And then, yeah, you're right. Once he got on scene, I know there's a higher priority. We have an officer who is dying because he was dying at that point. So I know that's a big concern. So I did kind of swallow it a little bit because you're right. I'm thinking, well, how much of a priority am I? I'm fucking alive and kicking. I didn't take a single round. So why am I being a little bitch? This plays into the long-term mental turmoil.
Right.
You know, why am I being a little bitch and getting my feelings hurt because he didn't say, hey, Ray, are you okay, buddy?
You need a hug.
You know, and it's not like that. It's twofolded. Yeah, I don't want that. I just want an acknowledgement of like, are you okay? Because, you know, he's my supervisor.
But you also, not only were you like involved in the shooting, you had just done first aid on your partner, right? So you're already not necessarily a victim to that, but you already are that person. And so even just, because we talk about this a lot where we always forget, it always seems like the officers who are doing first aid on the ones who've been shot and whatnot, they always get forgotten, right? The officers that go down, they're heroes. We celebrate them. We try to, you know, tribute to them. But the ones who had to see that we just kind of lose sight of them all the time.
Right. Yeah, I was definitely very emotional at that moment. You know, I got blood on me, you know, got the other officer's blood on me. I'm walking around in a circle and, you know, I trusted my supervisor. He was one of those I actually did trust. So to not even get that, it might sound petty to somebody who's never been involved in an incident like that, but it's big because I know what's about to happen. Unfortunately, you know, my history, I've been in other officer incidents, especially another one that passed away. So I know my role is to just stay away, get isolated till they get my story. I know that's coming, but I still want that human interaction. That's the best way I can say it.
And what Tanya was talking about, I get completely like, I was a handler on one of my partner's shootings, and it was my job to get him off the scene. And I could not think of one thing to talk about other than the shooting.
You were that guy?
I'm like, no, I didn't talk about it. But I'm thinking, what should I ask him? Right? I could have asked him anything. Like, hey, are you hungry? Could take a piss? Could I take a shit? You hungry? You know, anything. Could not think of anything. So I finally said, hey, let's go get something to drink, QT. Right? So we drive. And I think from a legal perspective, we all know if I ask Ray, how you doing? And you say, I'm not doing well, brother. Like all that shit comes in later, 2020. Right. And we talked about that on Friday. How much of that do we start to process our own? Do I want to get sucked into this? What did he say? Because then we get interviewed, right? Did he say anything? We see this with what's going on in Minnesota where they asked her OIT, what did she say to you right after? And he turns around and he's like, she said, I'm going to jail, I'm going to prison. And in my opinion, it's confidential. Like that's a human interaction.
Right.
For you, there was, him barking the orders, I completely disagree with. I was never a supervisor, and I hated people that were barking orders that didn't see the fucking lay of the land. So to our guest, let's take that by the numbers, I guess, piece by piece. Hearing that, and we'll do it from a supervisor role first. You've been a supervisor on a critical, and your guy's been on the radio. Are you the type of supervisor that's chiming in miles away?
Depends on the topic. So I'm curious as to what he was doing en route. Was it shutting down surrounding streets or evacuating buildings, or was it more focused on the actual scene?
No, that's a good point. And I'm agreeing kind of where you're going with this. He wasn't calling anything out that was needed. And I think you got to factor in whoever is on the radio. So I was still on the radio and I wasn't a mess. I was shutting down roads. I knew the area. So I was calling out specific roads. I need this, shut down that, blah, blah, blah. He was calling out, can you call the commander? Can you call this guy? He was doing the non-essential stuff. And that's what bothered me. It's like, listen, if you want to shut down a road because I forgot about it, or I'm a hot mess on this radio, I'm okay with that. But it was non-essential, non-priority stuff he could do once we hadn't even secured the scene yet. We weren't code 4 yet. I hadn't called out code 4 yet. So, so that was my issue.
Gotcha.
Who's he asking to call the commander?
Dispatch.
Oh, geez.
Because he wants everything recorded. Because at other major incidents, I would send it in through the computer because it's not a high priority task. So I want it noted on our CAD call. You know, I called for a commander, I called for this, but it's non-priority. It puts a timestamp on it. They get to it once they're done with their priority traffic, you know, updating fire, etc.
Okay, but if that's what he's supposed to do and has to get it, how is he? I'm just saying, how is a supervisor supposed to do those things if it has to be timestamped? Like
phone call.
Well, but then
to dispatch.
No one's time. Well, I guess.
Right.
But the scene hadn't been declared code 4 yet. So you have to prioritize what's a bigger priority. I hadn't rolled in fire yet. I was still having units arrive. We didn't know if the bad guys were coming back for a third time.
Yeah, and what does it matter if the commander gets called right this second?
Right.
Like, can we get code 4 before we're?
And in all fairness, obviously we're not
Dispatch is
mentioning
probably doing
names.
it anyway.
This supervisor did acknowledge to me and apologize down the road that he knew he should have waited, but he was a brand new supervisor, and something we've talked about. Departments, you know, you're a patrol guy on Friday, you get promoted, and then on Monday you're a supervisor, and there's no training, and all of a sudden here's a checklist and good luck.
Right.
And he'd been a supervisor for maybe a month or two, and I mean, it's got to be horrific, and I'm interested to hear that part too. As a supervisor, you're in charge of all these guys, and you just heard one of your guys get killed, because we all think he's dead at this point, another officer or possibly 2 get shot. You know, I'm sure he was under high stress. You know, I'm going to be fair about it. You know, he was hurting.
Let's not have our guest like armchair quarterback that call, but in particular, what you hear right now, and we've talked about it over the weekend, using your critical incident that you were supervisor on, how did that unfold? What was your role, and what was your mindset? Was there an officer shot first in that critical incident?
Nobody was hit.
Okay.
I was curious as to what the commands were over the air, because we were in that same situation where it was at a double major intersection at a pharmacy grocery store situation in the parking lot. So we have a lot of civilians. We have traffic both ways for a backdrop, and we still have to get the bad guy out of the car, get his gun away from him. So I was curious as to what your commands over the air were. I agree that calling the commander or internal affairs, whoever, that's completely wrong while you're en route, right? We all have cell phones. We all can text. You can do that in a group text when you get there if you need to.
So when you're supervising the shooting, what was your role? How did that unfold? We don't have to go into great detail, but how did that shooting kick out?
It was a guy who was wanted was on parole and did a robbery earlier in the day. And one of our people spotted him and watched him go to that business, and they were going to block him in when he went to leave, because he was greenlit for pursuit, but it was dead-ass rush hour. We don't want the pursuit during rush hour. So he went to leave, and our guy went to pull in front of him. They make contact. Bad guy comes up with a gun and starts shooting. Our guy bails, goes to the back, calls out he's got a gun, shots are fired. Second volley comes, we shoot again, and then everybody starts converging. So he was hit a bunch of times. So after he got done shooting, he was done shooting, but the gun was still in his lap. So now we're in the position of having to extricate him out of the car for medical attention, get him disarmed, and be cognizant of the rush hour traffic bordering us on 2 ways, an apartment complex to one side and a business that's busy on the other side.
So where are you at when that kicks out? So this is a prepared takeoff, right? They're preparing to contain this guy.
Right.
So it wasn't like just a normal shift and then bam, shots fired.
Yes and no. So we had one unit that saw the car and was able to follow him because the traffic was so heavy. He didn't know the squad was following him. He was far enough back. When it kicked off, it was pretty quick. Like, he made the realization, oh, I just saw that squad down the road. So he went to peel out of there. So there was only a couple of guys there instantly. But then once they said he was moving, people were clearing non-priority calls to head there.
And now, where are you at? You at the station, or are you out patrolling?
I was out patrolling.
Okay.
The south end of town, and this was the north side of town.
So shit hits the fan, and you kick in. How long before you're on the radio, being a supervisor, or do you even get to that point because you're just that close?
I'm probably 3 to 3.5 minutes drive time to get there. Once I get there, then we start shutting down the roads, considering the building that's of the parking lot we're in, getting our contact team put together to go up and contact the car, but nothing while en route.
So you stay off the radio the whole time.
Yeah, because it was still evolving and active.
You're letting those guys run that scene.
Right.
Right. So what Ray is talking about properly, right?
Right.
I think we can all agree that that's probably the best case scenario.
Well, yeah, we're trusted with a gun. I think we can figure a couple things out by ourselves.
Micromanagers.
Yes.
Well, and so you get there. Clearly, not only did he stop shooting, but I'm sure he stopped breathing.
Nope.
He still exists.
Still exists.
Not the best shots in the Midwest, but hey, I'm not judging.
It was, I sent
Not
you pictures.
judging.
I sent you pictures. It was good.
It was definitely good. I'm just saying,
Tight group.
I'm not judging.
You just got mammalian blood.
Yeah, I mean,
Takes a lot.
so when you get there, which hat do you put on first? Is it supervisor, sergeant hat? Is it?
Yeah, so when I get there, it's still an active scene. Our guys are just getting the contact team together to go make contact, get the guy out of the car. So I don't have a way to get there to help them because I have, if we can visualize, squad immobilized that car. There's another squad parked, but there's a big enough gap that I can't bridge that gap because I'm in the line of fire from the bad guy. So I take cover behind my car and cover the east side, we'll say, the east side of what's going on. And our guys did a good job. They shut down the parking lot and then started getting people into the store and away from the windows. Wouldn't let anybody leave, nobody come, nobody go. And then we started shutting roads down. But once they made contact with him and got him out of the car, half the world had shown up by then. Because it was at the end of the day. So some of the brass is still there. The detectives are still there. Other units are out and playing cars. So the world's showing up. Neighboring agencies are showing up. So initially we get him out, get some crime scene tape thrown up, and then a secondary because where we're from, an independent agency does the investigation. I know some places they have their own
Shoot teams.
Yeah. We don't have that. So another agency comes in. So we mark off the tight crime scene and then a bigger one to keep the riffraff out. And we keep all of our guys out of the inner, but they can be inside the secondary.
Okay. So looking back now, hanging out with us, during that critical incident, sounds like you had multiple shooters.
One shooter.
Just one shooter. One shooter. So do you say anything, what like Ray talks about? Do you ask him if he's all right? Or are you in the check in the box mode after that?
He's a guy I supervise, so my concern is for him right away. So I do go up and I say, hey, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. Are you hit? We do the gloss him over, check him, see what's out, what's missing, dislodged, holes anywhere. He had a hole or a rip in his hat, I think it was. But I think we figured out it was maybe from a ricochet that he punched the car with one of the shots and it came back and grazed his hat.
Ray, can I ask you, did anyone do that for you right away? Anybody?
Yeah, the Phoenix PD Sarge did.
Okay, so, and how long was that? Like, did you have to wait a long time for anyone to come up to you and say,
Yeah.
Are you okay? Like, how long?
Several minutes. Over 5 minutes, easy.
Because you never know.
Right.
Bullets can fly and you're such at a high level. You might not know if you're hit or that's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. What do you, I think for Ray, I keep thinking to myself, like I said, I was never a supervisor, but I keep thinking, I've got one officer potentially deceased. I've got a car outstanding, multiple suspects still outstanding. The strangest coincidence of a shooting I've ever seen where they've done a drive-by on the officer who's still there. And I'm not defending the sergeant. I just don't know that I would have had the sense of mind to ask, because I'm talking to you.
Well, but if you know him, you know he has his shit together. He's not necessarily someone you need to worry about, but like there's a million things going on in the supervisor's head, obviously, like,
Right.
oh shit, especially a new supervisor. But he sees you, you know, he's assuming you're good, but I think it's a tough call to make to expect the supervisor to come over right away. And I'm glad he came to you after and apologized for not doing that he maybe thought of that. You know what? I probably should have done that.
Well, and I agree with what you guys are saying, because I thought the same thing. You know, you hear that radio traffic from that night, I'm the lowest priority, because out of the three of us, I'm the only one on the radio. I'm doing everything. I am calling out all the commands.
Right.
I'm shutting everything down. You're right. So I had my shit together. So why would you worry about me? I bring it up because I do remember this for a fact. When I'm with the Phoenix PD guy, I could see my sergeant parked in his car. And the only reason he's in his car is because he's got like 10 different pieces of paper out. I could see him doing everything, right? And I remember just this feeling of like, I'm your guy. Like, can I get a like, hey, Ray, are you okay? You know, I just remember like all the adrenaline had dumped. I just saw my friend get killed in front of me. The other guy freeze up, be useless. I remember it's very vivid. It felt weird. Like I just wanted something. Like, dude, you're my guy. Yeah, you're my sergeant. And we weren't like friends, but I got along with them. It's like, I just wanted something. I remember looking across the street, just seeing them sit in that patrol car, think like, dude, I got nothing. And you're right. I got my shit together. Don't take it for granted. I'm like fucking hurting. You know, I just did first aid on my guy. Just saw him get killed. I wanted something. It sounds, you know, it goes against all how I was raised and everything, but, or a lot of us feel, you know, like I don't want to be coddled, but it's almost like maybe I just do want to be coddled for a fucking second. Yeah. You know, just that 1 second of, are you good? You know, the fucking quick slap on the shoulder. Okay, I got to take care of shit. I'm glad you're good.
Okay, but think about it this way. What if he says that to you and then you turn into a shit show and you're like, no, motherfucker, I'm not. He's like, oh, fuck. What? Now what do I do?
But now you know.
Right.
If that happens, now you know.
Well, I
Now I have
guess,
another
but
thing to deal with.
it-
But
another
I'm
thing-
with you, Ray. It just takes a second, right?
Right.
When we're on that scene, we're on the radio, we're on the phone, we're texting on the phone, calling on the phone. It just takes a second to come over,
Right.
slap you on the ass, grab your head. Hey, how you?
Whoa,
You all right?
what are you doing in the
Good.
Midwest?
But you know,
What is
he's,
cold up
happens in the
there?
Things in the
Midwest.
Midwest are
Cold.
different.
he's right, because after this happens, I leave to go to West Coast, and I'm at the airport waiting to come back. I call one of my squad guys, and he's like, hey, I'm working a fatal suicide, whatever. Lady killed herself and her kids. And I was like, oh, man. And I could hear in his voice, he sounded different. And the kids that she killed were the same age as his kids. And I'm like, ooh. And I asked him, are you okay, dude? I'm like, they're the same age. He's like, yeah, it's kind of bothering me. I'm like, dude, go sit in your fucking car right now. And I'm doing this on the phone. So I called the sergeant and say, hey, so-and-so, you got him taking this fatal. He's got 2 kids, and I can tell it in his voice. He is fucked up. You need to go talk to him. Well, the sergeant walked right over there, talked to him. The guy broke down, and he kicked the guy off scene. You know, so, yeah, maybe if it would have made me break down, maybe you need to hear it at that moment. You know, in the case of this other officer, different scenario, it's what he needed. He was not doing good at that scene whatsoever. So, yeah, you had an officer melt down because you checked on him, but at least he's not carrying all that bullshit for the next couple hours.
Or worst case scenario, you don't now have Ray's incident with Ray shooting himself because he's just overrun.
Right.
Yeah, I always ask somebody if they were okay, accidents or shootings. Like, hey, are you good? Yeah, yeah. The answer was always the same. It's the same answer we get now when we're fucked up.
Right.
I give everybody the same answer. Veronica, how you doing? Good. How are you? I'm good. Why'd we ask each other that question?
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm not okay. Okay. So, hearing that, what protocol do you guys have? Because you're just one person amongst all these sergeants in the world who probably do make these mistakes as he finds out. Because I'm thinking to myself, if I'm a new sergeant, man, I got so much fucking paperwork right now. Like, and I don't want to fuck my guy over by missing something. I want to make sure everything's right. And this is the downfall of how we get to where we get to, because we try to be too perfect and not make the minimal mistakes to be human. Because in every critical incident that I was involved in, I did everything right, and look at what it led me to. Right? I didn't take time to make those mistakes. So for you, and where you're from, it's not like hunky-dory. Like, it's pretty fucking violent down there. So you're seeing this stuff, and you've been around us long enough now. What kind of strategy do you have for things like this? Now I'm switching your hat to union. For your officers, what do you have in situations? Do you have training like this where, hey, do you teach these young sergeants that are coming up, hey, take time to be human? Is this something that's in your training matrix?
I think it's pretty common within our department at the sergeant level. I think once you cross that magic bridge or that magic divide and get the butter bar, become a lieutenant, something changes in you. And I'm sure that's the same everywhere. But I still think at the sergeant level, there's still that human connection, because you're still going to the same trainings with your guys. You're going to dinner with them, going on calls with them, where once you become lieutenant, you're more bound to the desk, and you're just reviewing complaints and making schedules and remembering how great you were when you were on the street and applying that to your people when they make mistakes. So I think at this level, at least where I'm from, there's still that humanity aspect to it, right? You still supervise them, but there's still those relationships. Right?
So how long have you been a sergeant?
6 years.
So when you first became a sergeant and you took the test and you went through, I'm assuming you guys have like a sergeant school, once you get selected, right? You got to go to like supervisor school or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. During that time, do they talk about shit like this? Like, hey, bro, be human. Ask your guy if they're okay. Or is it just an assumed assignment?
I don't know that there's a training topic on being human. But I think the mental health aspect as a whole is just completely disregarded almost everywhere. I think I'm in a different position than other people, because the mental health part is a passion of mine from the day we met. Getting into that stuff and understanding the psychology of what happens and why it happens and how your brain works. So I'm placed a little bit differently than some people, but I know the people I work with, that bleeds off onto them. So the sergeants on my shift are all cognizant of that.
Right. So there's not like in our academy, we talked about it in previous podcasts that trauma. Right? What do we have, an hour of boohoo me, right? Is that what we had? Like, you might get in a shooting and you might not be able to sleep. Oh, and you might wake up with bad dreams shooting your gun. That was the extent of it. I don't think that, maybe now, I've been out of the game so long, but I don't think supervisors from patrol going into that supervisory position second of all, he's not just a number.
Right.
He's not just a checklist, right? So how in your opinion should we, looking forward with these future supervisors, what do we say to them? Is because I'm sure from the three hats you have, you don't want somebody talking to him. You don't want him talking to people. But at the same time, he wants somebody to talk to. So what's your I don't want to say remedy for that, but what's your opinion on that? How would you, in a perfect world, make that work?
I think that's difficult because, like you said, everybody wants. So we'll just say it's a shooting, right? Everybody wants to go talk to the shooter, maybe high five the shooter, or wind up saying some dumb shit,
right?
Is going to scar you later on. But the guys I supervise, I tell, we talked about this Friday, where I tell them, hey, if you're in a shooting, here's what's going to happen. Here's the steps. It's going to be a criminal investigation focused upon you. Not that you've done anything wrong. You do it 100% right. There's still the investigation. And the only people you can talk to are your attorney and your spouse. Anything we talk about as a union guy or a supervisor, I can get subpoenaed and I have to tell them what we talked about. So if we talk, we'll talk in hypotheticals.
Right.
Hypothetically, if you shot somebody today, do you feel okay about what happened? Hypothetically.
Right.
Right. So skirting the rules, maybe, probably not defensible in court, but at least lets them get some things out.
Right. What do you think, Ray? Pretty quiet over there.
Yeah, no, I was listening to everything you said. So I had a scenario when we're talking about the legality, and I was thinking about it today. I can't remember what the case was, but I spoke to somebody when I wasn't supposed to, and they got brought up in court. And I told the shitbag defense, yeah, well, I was just being a fucking human being. So he actually sought to get the case dismissed over it. So, of course, prosecutor objects, and the judge granted it. Yeah, nothing I said was wrong. It was one of those like, hey, are you okay type deals. Right? And I said, I'm merely checking on a guy. It's a human fucking reaction to check on somebody.
Yeah.
And the judge sided with me. He's like, yeah, this has no bearing on this case. He didn't ask him, was it a good shoot? Was it a bad shoot? I simply asked, hey, buddy, I know your adrenaline's flowing, but are you good? I didn't ask him like, hey, did you make the right decision? Did you make the bad decision? Like, are you okay? And then I told him something like, hey, this shit's going to hit you afterwards, and that's normal. Kind of like what we talk about in here. I was just letting them know. This is going to fucking bug you later on. So I think that was the approach the defense took. Like, oh, you're basically saying he did bad, and that's why it's going to bother him later. So, no, for me, the human side, I think you could fight it in court, whether you're saying it in hypothetical or not. Just, hey, buddy, that was a good shoot. You're going to be okay. Even that, I think, is okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right.
But you don't want the shooter to go, oh, man, I felt good about 1 through 4, but 5 through 7, I feel a way about those.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I mean, if that ever happened, I have a friend who was involved in a good shoot where he killed a guy, and he retired because of it. He's like, I never wanted to kill somebody. And one of the things that was brought up when his case went to court was that he questioned himself. It's on camera. Somebody asked him, are you okay? He's like, no, I don't feel good about this. So that got brought up.
Right.
Well, on the stand, he says, yes, I was a cop. I knew I might have to take somebody's life, but I personally never wanted to take somebody's life. That's why I made the remark I made. He was cleared. I think some of it also comes down to how well you can articulate. If you guys were in court, there's plenty of cops. They can't explain, anything. Then the other guys can,
Like nine rounds?
9 rounds.
Some people can explain 9 rounds.
After taking a 10-second pause.
Yeah.
Right.
What'd you pause for? Well, Kai's breath.
Debating if I should put another mag in.
Yeah. I don't know. Tactical reload. What do you want me to tell you?
It sounds terrible. And, and Tanya was kind of looking for the word. I felt alienated is what I felt at that moment. Watching my entire... So I'm pretty sure your departments were the same. Whoever was my shadow couldn't be from my squad. So it had to be a different squad or a different department. So I'm hanging with this Phoenix PD Sarge, looking at my squad, giving me the weird eyes, looking at my sergeant in his patrol vehicle, and I'm off in the dark shadows by myself. And I'm just walking in a circle. So it made you just feel like, and I knew I did nothing wrong because we talked about this earlier. I had diarrhea of the mouth. I would talk to anybody because I knew I did nothing wrong.
That made the homie over here cringe. He's like, what? Shut up.
Because I kind of took, and it sounds stupid, but I took the approach. We've all seen the first 48 or something, and every time the bad guy, I don't want to talk about it. Well, that's because you're fucking guilty, right? You got nothing to hide. You're going to fucking talk.
It's a Jedi mind trick for cops.
So that's my approach. I didn't break a single policy, general order. It's a good shoot. I'm not keeping fucking quiet. If I got something to say, I'm going to say it. Take me to court. I did nothing wrong.
Right.
That was my approach. Not always the right one, but in this case, it's what I did. So to have everybody away from me, and I know I get it. I can't talk to my guys. I get that. But the pat on the shoulder, it sounds so stupid. I mentioned it earlier. I think secretly you almost want that. Well, I know I do. I'm not even saying secretly. I know I did. I just wanted one of my guys to come up to me and be like, dude, I'm glad you're good. I know that because fast forward a couple weeks later, I run into some SWAT guys that were on call that night. They couldn't make it to the scene. And when I walk up to the guy, first thing he did was give me a big old hug and a pat on the shoulder. And his words were something like, dude, I was so glad when I saw the call that you were there. I knew you'd be good. I'm so happy you're okay. He didn't ask me anything. He didn't ask for details. It was just a simple, and I felt awkward. I felt very awkward when he did it, but it also felt good. Like, oh, dude, this guy knows me. And one, he knows I'm okay. And two, he was just checking on me. Like, he was like, dude, I know you're good. You're good.
Why'd you feel awkward?
He was a big 6'7" dude giving me a big old hug.
Oh, scary.
Because there was feelings.
Yeah. Feelings.
After being so pushed to the side, to have somebody like embrace you, like, dude, you're okay, and I'm glad you're okay. It was like a weird feeling. Like, oh, okay, I'm not just a number. I'm not position 626.
Right.
That was my position number. Because I got sarcastic after that shooting. I'm nothing but a fucking number. I'm position 626 with the fucking state.
If departments were smart, I'll volunteer to be the person that the officer can talk to because I can't remember shit that they say anyway. So let's talk it out. Won't make a difference to me.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
So roll back for a second to who you're assigned, whatever you want to call it, tag along, friend, buddy is. Where I'm at, it's the polar opposite. It's somebody from your shift or a good known friend from the department or your supervisor if you get along with them. So I think that might help in your situation to be able to have that that moment of, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Where it's not just some unknown face.
Yeah, see, and I think in Mesa it was the same. And they've since done away with the segregating because we had an officer who was put in the back of a squad car, shut the door, and left there for like hours. Oh. Nobody wanted it. Like, nobody even checked on him. He was banging on the window trying to take a piss 6 hours later. Oh. So, and that's been changed. And I know in Arizona it's been changed. I know I think we can, at least in Mesa, I think you can pick, like, I need so-and-so to come with me. There's not a non-issue with that.
In Gilbert, we were kind of the same way. I had a buddy that was in a shooting probably 2011-ish, 10 or 11. And when I rolled up, we were good friends. We were academy classmates. And so I knew his family well. So when I got there, he kind of came over towards me. And I mean, he essentially broke down and everything too. But then he was able to talk to me. And I think it was just having someone familiar that kind of helped. But I also feel like having that familiarity and stuff is part of, and our relationship was part of the breakdown process too. I think it's probably good and bad where there's some guys who won't break down, right? We have those guys that just don't. But in the right situation, that may be something that triggers them to feel, I guess, right? In a way that if it had been some other guy, some I don't know, one of his SWAT buddies or something, he probably would have been cool, right? Like, he would have had all those breakdown feelings and whatever. And like, I had to call his wife for him and just do things like that. But I think he was fine up until I got there. And then I went and checked on him, and that's where he kind of lost it at that point.
If I saw Tanya after a critical incident, she was standing in front of me talking, I can honestly tell you I wouldn't have asked her for one reason, because she can take care of herself.
You wouldn't have asked me if I was okay?
Right.
I will punch you in the nuts.
Well, now.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying back then when we were patrolling together, there were certain people it was an assumption that should have never been made. I learned later.
Oh.
But you know what I mean? Like, there were times where, we would.
I don't think that's true. I think you would have said, "Are you good?" I mean, that's all it has to be. I think you would have.
Yeah, I can. So you and I, you do forget shit.
Oh, all the time.
And we were on.
Who are you again?
We were on a call, and there was a child that had been, I believe it was murdered, and we were on scene, and you were there, and we talk about it all the time, and you're like, I don't remember this call.
I don't remember the call.
And it was a fucked up scene, and I didn't ask you. You looked fine. Like I said, it's a good facade for us that fucks us up, right? And just like that guy that probably asked Ray, like, oh my God, I'm glad it was you. I'm glad you're okay. He made an assumption that you were okay. Right. You're not okay, right?
You're not okay.
And that's what I'm saying is, I want to ask. Well, now I know how to ask, first of all, but nobody taught me that. That wasn't issued in the academy. And
the invisible injury, right? If your leg's broken, we all know what to do.
Well, I mean, I've been on calls where somebody's, the officer twisted his ankle or broke it and snapped it. And I'm like, hey, bro, don't look at it. I didn't say, are you okay? I'm like, hey, it's good. It's good.
Well, when it's physical, you realize it ain't good.
Right.
Yeah, don't look there because it's fucked up.
Right. And that's why it's not good. That's why I think when you said that, I think the assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, is he just assumed you were good.
Right. And I think we're almost crossing that line. We mentioned it briefly in the topic for today. We're also looking at this from the perspective that we look at PTSD different now than when we were on the job. Because I think how this guy approached me, I was squared away. I was known for being on top of my game. I was the unofficial leader on the squad. Why would I not be okay? I had a business that night. I didn't get hit. Ray's good. That's just what Ray does.
Right.
So I can't fault them for thinking any different. And with the discussion you guys had right now, before that shooting, I don't think I would have checked on somebody. Let's use the example of my buddy with the fatal. Before my shooting, I would have not been shown the same concern that I did after that, right? Because it's just part of the fucking job. Oh, you got a fatal, you got kids. Big fucking deal, dude. I did it Tuesday night.
That's kind of how it was with my incident, right? When I had the baby, like nobody ever said anything to me about like, hey, are you good? Because I had baby girls, and kids the same age. And so, but nobody ever, I knew they were all freaked out by just being on scene and seeing what went down, but nobody ever said anything to me about it, even like probably even to this day, right? Just knowing things, but I just think we just don't, right? We never thing for us to see shit and
I
go
did.
about our day.
I mean, I don't ask, I don't over, like, before I would hear people like, so-and-so got in a shooting. Is he all right? They didn't ask if he was all right mentally.
Right.
I meant,
They meant
did he
get
get
shot?
hurt?
Yep.
Right. And so it never crossed my mind to look at somebody and say, are you okay? When they said, yeah, I'm good. And me go, I'm not talking about physically, bro. Like, are you okay? Is your head straight? Like, that was not something that came across.
Well, I don't know that you're going to know your head's not straight right away. Also, like, you're not going to know. I think about my incident. If someone came to me and said, which they may have, you okay?
You don't know.
I have no fucking idea if anybody said that to me, but there wasn't any reason not to, you know what I mean? But if someone had come to me and said, dude, are you okay? And I would have been like, well, fuck yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing happened to me, but clearly I was fucked up. But I didn't know I was fucked up until...
Because we do it every day.
Yeah.
Veronica just talked about it right now. Like, nobody came up and asked, but...
You know, 3 days later, whenever I was having my meltdown and I'm like, I have no fucking idea how to use that computer in the car, I didn't need somebody to come to me and say, are you okay? Because I obviously was
You already knew you weren't okay.
Everybody knew I wasn't okay. It was quite embarrassing. Yeah.
But I know, like, so nobody ever said anything to me, but I will say that in the years that followed while I was still on patrol, anytime an incident involving a child came up, whether it was a drowning or some sick, injured child call, and I got dispatched to it, the guys would call me off and say, hey, I'm close, I'll do that, you can cancel her or whatever. So they did things like that without ever speaking to me about how you feel, is it okay, like, was that fucked up? You know, like nothing about the incident, but they used to call me off. I don't think I ever saw another injured child after that.
Well, I know, but okay, but why? Do you ever ask yourself why? You had to have done something or said something, or maybe they just didn't want to see it again, what they had seen, because it doesn't make any sense why they would just do it.
Right. I don't know. I don't think we ever talked about it. Like, it was just something that happened. We went back to work the next day. Like, our whole squad was there, back to work, and nobody ever spoke about the incident or anything. It was like it never happened. And so I just remember, like, after that, every time I'd get called, or even to that neighborhood, if I got called into that, I don't even know what we called the individual neighborhoods or whatever, but when I got called into there, the guys would call me off and go take it for me, and whether it was something simple or big. But they never asked, like, anything.
Yeah, that's a Veronica thing. What did they give Veronica? That's all that was.
Poor
Poor Veronica. Let's not let Veronica get hurt again.
Who says chivalry's dead?
Why are you
Fucking-
such an ass?
Fucking bullshit. She's a day shifter. Ray, you had some points you wanted. Did you get all your points in that you were talking about?
Yeah, for the most part, it was just that we're approaching this now. We're approaching it from, for me, it's 6 years removed from the shooting. I'm retired now, gotten a lot of help, so it's easy to look back at what I think I wanted at that moment. Right. But like Tanya mentioned, would I really want it at that moment? And even if I would have gotten it, would have had the effect that I'm hoping it would have had, so I didn't end up where I'm at now. Now, with all that being said, I do know that talking about it and hopefully other people hearing it makes a difference. You know, I had a buddy get in a shooting after, and I was very vocal about, hey, if you're in a shooting, you might feel okay, but it might bother you down the road. Give me a call. So when he had his shooting, our department changed. You get to pick who's going to be your shadow. So he called me. I was at home, got dressed, went out to the scene, talked to him, and I kept checking on him. And he's had really small issues since then. And we've talked about it, and he credits it with being able to just openly talk about it nonstop. Whenever he needed to, I would randomly bring it up. So that's just what I was going with it. Like, yeah, we can look back and say, maybe this would have helped. I don't know. Right. But hopefully somebody hearing it on the radio now, or Sergeant here, you know, knows, okay, my guy's going to be good on day 1, day 3, but let me check on him on day 10, day 30, day 60.
Right.
So looking back these years later, is there anything that you were more critical about then that you feel bad about being critical for now against that sergeant that you understand better, or did nothing change?
No, nothing changed. I was just butthurt that moment because there's just so many emotions. When he called and apologized, because he didn't apologize for that. There was things that happened afterwards once I came back to work that he didn't handle good. He went through his own PTSD incident, and that made him aware of what PTSD is. That's when he chose to call and apologize. The fact that he could remember something that happened years ago and call me to apologize for, you know, he didn't even know if it bothered me. He just straight up apologized for what he felt he did wrong. That completely changed everything. You know, how can I be mad at this guy? You know, because it was a big deal for me at that moment. For him, he's got an officer shot. You know, 3 guys are involved in it. He's just losing 3 guys is what happened. So out of a 9-man squad, I mean, he lost 1/3 one incident.
Right.
So for him to realize, oh, I need to call this guy, you know, that spoke volumes. So I let everything go related to him. And we actually became friends after that because we got along. He wasn't like a good friend of mine, but we became friends after that.
So just bad decisions all around. It didn't change 5 years later.
Right.
Like you didn't think, oh shit, that's kind of fucked up.
No, that's one of those, regardless of time, I still feel the same way. There was just that, I just talking to you guys, I remember where I was standing and how I felt looking at his car thinking like, God damn, dude, just give me, you're right. I was squared away. I could handle my business. I'm low priority out of all the things going on in your head, but I still want to, like, you're my guy. You're good. We're going to, right. You know,
I don't know, low priority. I would say priority overall is equal at that point. Maybe Casey's got a lot more priority than you do, but priority as a whole, not low. But
in my head, I could justify it as being low. I mean, he's got a guy that's dying on the way to the hospital. We got another guy that's froze up, just a total mess.
That guy's not any priority at that point. Like, what are you going to do with that guy? But what about you there, guest? Do you got, after hearing that, like...
I was going to say, even if you are, in your mind, low priority, the word priority still exists. So in your mind, even if you are the least important on that scene, you're still important. So like the guy who froze up, I don't think anybody gives two shits about him, right?
Right.
He might as well have been somebody in the hotel watching a movie.
Yeah, and...
I think they were actually worried, to be honest. They were worried suicide came to thought with him, the way he was processing everything, because I remember it being mentioned. So I don't know if that factored in that night, but...
Okay, but think after the fact, the guy didn't do anything. He stayed at the back of the car. Like, come on, if he didn't think about suicide, then he's stupid as fuck.
Shock value. Yeah, there's...
I mean, you second guess, you're like, I have no idea what happened, and I didn't do anything. I don't know who that guy is, but you're like... He's probably fucked. He's probably fucked up, super fucked up.
Right. That's why they did. I remember the suicide word being thrown around because he has to live with his actions and inactions.
Inactions, yeah.
And the fact that everybody knew that was going to be the scenario if he was ever involved in the shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to carry that label now for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
Even if nobody gave him the label, he knows that that's what he did.
Oh, yeah. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
He had 5 years on, and he never came back to work. He took his 3 days off, and he was done, which is good for everybody involved, including him.
But there's some things you just don't come back from.
Right.
You know, what are you going to do? We would... so today I took the big homie from the Midwest down, and I wanted him to get a whole look because this is going to be a little bit longer podcast, and I'll break it up into two, but we have another topic that we're going to touch on. We roll in to the critical incident spot, and this plays in my head. This is what I think I should have played when we were over there.
There goes the crackhead that I see each morning.
That was, we walked in, motherfuckers are doing dope on the fucking corner. It's like, oh shit, Ray didn't clean this place up. No. Like, he didn't do shit. So going into this second topic, which Ray and I recently talked about it in group, and Tanya was there, and it struck a nerve with me, and I've heard it from Dave before in the past, and it has to do with awards,
right,
and handing them out, right. So I'll let Ray talk about how we got started on this with this award that you got when you brought it up in group, and we were like, fuck that shit, don't take the award.
Yes, I was nominated for an award, and I've said this, I've received 3 awards for this shooting, and I've said it from the first one. You know, I can't speak for everybody that gets an award. In this case, my first thought was, I'm getting an award for one of my guys getting hurt. That's how I looked at that award, and that's how I still look at it. And everybody always tries to like, yeah, but you did the right thing, and that's what you're getting the award for. You're right, I did do the right thing, but I still had to have one of my guys get hurt for me to get that award. That I can't change that in my head. I can't. So for me getting that award, it brings up bad memories. I don't replay the good stuff I did during that shooting. That's not on a loop in my head. So getting this award brings back the loop of, should I have done this? The what if game. You know, should I have stopped that traffic stop? Should I have taken over the traffic stop? So the awards start hurting more than they're doing good because it has to be in a public setting. I felt that if they truly wanted to give me an award for doing good, that if I chose to, it should be a public ceremony. A private ceremony. You know, hey, Ray, we want to give you this. You did good. We know it sucked for the other guy, but we're thankful you're there. We'd like to present you with this. Who would you like there? Oh, your wife, your kids. Okay, we're going to bring it in. We will take a picture too, but we just want your family that also had to live with this, especially in my case, because I did bring it home. We want them to see that you did good. That would have helped me accept this a lot more. But to do it in a setting of, oh, we're going to invite 600 people. We're going to make this big event, and then you're going to walk up on stage. You can't say a single word. You don't get to say anything, but we're going to give this to you in front of everybody. That takes away all the small bit of hope of this is for me. As soon as it has to be in front of 500 people and you can't say a word, it's no longer for me, it's for them.
Right.
And that's the part I don't like. I think the awards are necessary. I think they are a good thing that a department does. But in that setting of 500 people shut up, it's not for you. It's for them.
Right. And in your case, that first one from the department had been how many years since they handed out what did you get, Valor?
Yeah, I got a Medal of Valor award. I think they said been like 28 years, 29 years since the last time they'd handed one. So for shits and giggles, they added the remark of, since it's been so long since we handed one of these, we're handing out 2 of them. And the other officer getting one, his event doesn't compare to yours, but it was worthy enough of getting one of these awards. So
awards are obviously necessary, I think. However, an option needs to be given for you. Okay,
right.
We could have this ceremony. We could put your award presentation in this, or we can do it this way.
Right.
What would you like? Because I think that would give you more control and be able to give you what you need, because there's no fucking way you're going to put me in front of 600 people when your partner was shot in the face. Other partners have died and you're getting an award like Dave.
Yeah.
And I was vocal about it. I didn't hide it. By the time they got around to giving me that first award, I was vocal with our assistant chief. And I was vocal that, hey, I don't feel good. I'm having major anxiety. I'm struggling with this. I can't even imagine walking in front of this many people. And he just kept telling me it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
For who? For you or for them?
That was never addressed. And we've talked about it. So the recent award of same event that I just got a few months ago, we talked about it. If I could go up there and maybe say, hey, thank you, but this affected me, for anybody in the same situation, get some help, maybe that would make me feel comfortable with getting this in front of everybody. But as long as they keep up, you're going to go up, you're going to shake hands, you got to take the mandatory picture and go back to your seat, then it's not for you. How is that for you? Does anybody do that with their kids or their significant others? Hey, you did good, but just stand here and let me take a picture and then go sit down and shut up.
They don't want you mentioning what it did to you,
right.
Especially in this day and age.
Right, no.
Fuck no. You good? I'm good. I got an award. I got a ribbon.
Well, and the sergeant over here mentioned it earlier. So I used to teach about my incident down at the academy. And the last time I taught, they brought in a lot of higher ups in there. And I'm very vocal about if you're ever in these situations.
That's what I love about you, Ray.
I was very blunt about the reality. And I said, not everybody's going to be affected the same way, and everybody's different. I'm not being touchy-feely, just very matter of fact. Everybody's different. Everybody needs a different approach. Some of you guys are going to be okay on day one. Some of you are not, etc. All the higher-ups, I could see it on their face. They didn't like where I was going with it. And that was the last time that I went back, because they say they want to talk about mental health, but only if it's a doctor that's never been in the police world.
We've had that discussion many, 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 many times. And when we were out with our guests several years ago, Dave, as with like Ray, likes to isolate certain staff members and tell them how shitty they did. And they're continuing to do shitty to a point where, was he an assistant chief that walked out?
I don't remember if it was the chief or the assistant.
Yeah, he had enough stars to be one of the two. And Dave looked right at him and told him, like, you ain't making a bit of difference. Like, this is on your head. Old boy's like, hey, I'm the chief. I got to go. Do I got to be somewhere? I'm out.
I got a meeting.
Yeah.
Is that why no one asked me my opinion after anything? Maybe that's why
Yeah.
no one calls
Well,
me.
you sent an email to everybody.
Hey.
So they knew your opinion.
Oh, that is true. Reply all did. Did get hit. Oopsie.
So at this recent, you guys are nailing it with this lieutenant. So at this recent awards event, they had all the chiefs, everybody important sat on that first 2 rows. And some of them, they get recognition. We want everybody, the chief of police for this department's here. The chief for this is here. This You know, they're all important. They want to get recognized, and they all would stand up and let everybody recognize them. And then as soon as the award started, here's a very famous sheriff. Oh, I already did, because he got to go up on stage and give his 15 minutes lecture on whatever he wanted, his personal agenda. And then since his time was up and they started the awards, he didn't care anymore, and he got up and walked out. And
Fucking
to me,
cocksuckers, man.
that was just more proof. My wife was next to me, and I was like, this is just a fucking dog and pony show.
Were you ever told whenever you made a comment and someone would say, you know what, this is just how it is? Bullshit. Then someone needs to fucking change how it is, because I go to you and I tell you there's a problem and you're like, yeah, that's a problem, but this is just how it is. Fuck. What are you guys doing?
That's why the comment box is there. This comment box right here, I'm going to put the comment.
Bullshit.
Well, when I say I'm outspoken and it's something I've always done, I'm not being a whiner and a bitcher. I'm being that guy. I see a problem, and if I'm not the supervisor and I bring it up to you, I'm also going to bring you some possible solutions, because I hate hearing that. I was a supervisor before I became a cop, and whenever I would take over somebody, I'd watch them for a while, a week or two, see how they did stuff. And then I would evaluate them and tell them, hey, why do you do it this way? Well, that's the way it's always been done. That's the worst fucking answer there is.
Terrible.
Yeah, they'll rewrite policy in a knee-jerk reaction, but it takes years to correct an issue. What about you, Sarge, with these awards? Now, I know, thinking back, I think during that time when we were the keynote there, some awards were given out, but I don't think they were for like valor or anything like that. But what's your take? Union guy, supervisor, your guy does a good job. What's your take on that?
I think there's two different answers to that. There's the answer where I personally don't give a shit. I never wear bars or awards. I don't care to go to the ceremonies. The term dog and pony show, very much believe in that. But I think recognition has to happen. So I think you have to divide critical incident recognition like Ray's with, hey, we got 5 pounds of meth out of a traffic stop. Two very different things. The good traffic stop ones are the ones you definitely have to have, because that lets your people know that you're watching them, you see them, you appreciate what they're doing. And it's bringing up a potentially, or should be, good memory. Whereas with Ray's, it's re-ripping off that scab, and we're reliving this thing that we don't want to relive. But on the personal note, I'm not a big awards guy, but I think it's definitely needed. It could be a good motivator for people.
I agree. I mean, if you take off fucking couple pounds, shit, give them an award. But, I'm with you. I don't see the benefit in the situation where you're having this person go, and then you silence them. Right. You're already silenced on the scene, right? You get into a shooting and you're not allowed to talk to anybody. Nobody's allowed to talk to you. Now, a year or two later, we're going to call you in. We're going to give you this award. You can't say anything. So we're going to silence you again. Yep. Right? We don't want to know what you're feeling. We don't want to know how you're feeling. We want you to smile, and we're going to put this up in a hallway somewhere, and your name's going to be on a plaque, and 5-10 years from now, nobody gives a fuck that you got the award, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked about it yesterday when we were at the cigar shop, right? My wife's going through my shit after, she's like, what's this? I'm like, oh, it's accommodation. Took off a murder suspect. I didn't know about that. I'm like, what do you want me to tell you? Life-saving awards. I remember one time I was talking to a squad mate, and I said, I don't know that it's life-saving. After a few times you go out and you save a life, or you see these shootings and you did the right thing, I always kept asking myself, did I really save the life, or did I just prolong a death?
Change the end date?
Yeah, I just changed the end date is all that happened. Yeah. You're going to die, bro. I just paused it for a minute. And yes, you're grateful. And yes, I understand you're saving the life. And those are instances, like you said, where you do get those awards. But the sensitive stuff where people are injured, killed, and there's survivors there, you're asking these people to keep coming back over and over and over again. You want to put it behind them. It never gets behind us, right? It doesn't get behind us. My night is still screaming from 8 years ago. It doesn't get behind you. You know, that's why we're boozing, because we're trying to get it behind us. And we get a phone call and they're like, hey, you remember what you did 5 years ago at that shithole hotel? Yeah, you know, the one that you got fucking shot at, you were ignored, your partner was shot in the face. We want you to relive that. Come get an award because you did such a great job, and we're going to all be happy, and the blue line's going to stay intact, right? Nobody from the last 4 years has checked on you. Has anybody from there called and...
No, I've deleted all the phone numbers.
Yeah.
I just told you. I just had a guy text me, and who is this? You know, I've deleted everybody. I think I talked to 2 people, 12 years on the same squad, and I talked to 2 people. But when Sarge here was talking, the whole time I was thinking, the whole point of Pistol, what I wish it reaches is not the members that show up every week. It's the people that just randomly might be listening. And like our Sarge here, they're going to promote someday, hopefully. And if they hear this, know that they need to make that difference. So when I got that Valor Award, I said another guy got one too. Now, granted, he did do something pretty good. The debate whether he should have got a Valor Award, doesn't matter. He got one. But it didn't have the same impact as it did on me, his event, because he's up there smiling, super happy, got all his family there. It was like a big deal. Like, it was a great day for him. I'm pretty sure if I went into his house, that award's hanging up on the wall. I had to take a ton of anxiety meds that day. I didn't want my family to come. My picture that I took, I looked like I just murdered somebody. I got that 1,000-yard stare.
That's your just everyday look, though, right? It's not going to.
That's Tuesday.
Yeah.
And now that I've retired and I got little kids, I kind of started building that I love me wall in one of my rooms. I put some awards and stuff up. I want my kids to see I did something good. That Valor Award, that's in my nightstand, buried underneath a bunch of stuff. That's not something I can display because, yeah, I did good, but we're still back to somebody had to go through something horrific for me to have the opportunity to do the right thing, and I'll never be, I don't care how much therapy I do, how much I talk about it. I'm not going to be able to change that outcome in my head. Somebody still had to suffer. Somebody I know, a fellow cop, whether he was a friend or not, any cop is a brother, right? A fellow cop had to get shot for me to take the right action. So I'm never going to be okay with that award. So yeah, getting an award for it, I'm like our sergeant here. I could care less about awards. I never wore it. I actually got yelled at. I got written up because I refused to wear it when we get dressed up, in Class A's. I wouldn't put my award on there. So I got written up. You have to start wearing it.
That's all about Ray.
Jesus,
right.
yeah.
That has nothing to do with the department's perspective. Like,
I was actually told, hey, the department did this for you. You need to wear this. I mean, that's almost word for word what I was told. So it holds no meaning to me, but I'm with him. That same awards assembly, 2 guys got life-saving awards for taking somebody out of a burning car. Yeah, good for them. I'm happy they got the recognition because I don't know if I want to dive into a burning car to get somebody out. So that I think is necessary. These awards, when somebody goes through something traumatic, I hope anybody listening or Sarge promotes and he's ever in that situation, I think it just needs to be a case-by-case basis and give that person that opportunity of this is a personal event to you. This, and everybody knew, and for anybody that's familiar with my story, I brought my incident home, had to put my family into hiding because of my incident. It affected my whole family.
right.
This is very personal. And to have to publicly display it, it just, it'll never change. It's never going to sit well with me. So
go a step farther. Is there, in your mind, is there ever a way that you're okay with the award? I mean, if they give you 10 minutes to talk and you can talk about mental health and your experiences, does that lessen the blow a little bit so that perspective can be shown?
For me, it would have, because I became very vocal in my department about PTSD. Not everybody does, obviously. And that's one thing I got out of Pistol and other places I've gone is if I'm going to bitch about this, then I'm going to advocate for it.
Yeah.
So this last award, because that got thrown around when we talked with Tanya and Manny, is, hey, you don't get to talk about it.
Yeah, because that was one of the things I said when you said you were getting this award. I said,
Right.
would that make a difference if you did get to talk? Because I think that would have been important. But
Yeah.
but they can't control what you're going to say either. So
That's what
why-
scares 'em.
That's why they don't.
Right.
Which is shitty because there's not anything that you would have said that would have been bad necessarily.
Right.
Truth. Maybe that's what they.
The truth hurts.
That's
It's
what they're
the
worried about.
unseen truth, though, right? It's not cops and robbers on TV.
Right.
It's real world affecting real people, but you just never see it.
The only devil's advocate I'll play to all this is like when I would teach at Academy, is that you're not necessarily scaring somebody, you're scaring them to do their job the right way because now they're so worried about what might happen to them. Like when I would teach about being mentally prepared for the shooting, the stuff I would do and the stuff that went wrong, am I planting that seed of, oh my God, I'm going to get shot? And maybe they don't do their job. I'm not explaining this the right way. I kind of lost it there, but you might be planting that seed of, I'm going to fuck up because I'm so worried that I'm going to do the wrong thing and then mentally I'll be fucked later. I explained that way wrong, but
I'm looking at
hopefully-
you, Ray, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah.
I think I understand. Yeah. So
It's kind of like if I spoke too much. So when I went back to work, I was afraid to talk about this because I didn't want my squad mates thinking I wasn't dependable anymore. If I openly talked about, hey, man, this event's mentally fucking with me, were people now going to start questioning me when I would show up as their backup? Like, holy fuck, Ray's here. Is he on his shit today or is he not? Because is he going to be reliable or not? So that's why I didn't speak about it at first. Not until I came to Pistol, I wouldn't talk about it. Hey, Ray, you good? I'm good. So am I planting one of those seeds in somebody if I'm too open about, hey, if you're in a shooting?
yeah,
man,
the problem is because if you look at somebody who is, by all accounts, a hard charger and squared away, take Ray, for instance. We're all in this squad. I think what he's trying to say is that if we ask him if he's okay and he becomes vocal with it, we're not as good as Ray. So does that mean I'm not going to perform to the level he did? And if I don't perform to that level, am I going to be fucked up like Ray? Or should I be fucked up like Ray? Right? It's like the conversation that we had yesterday about the shooting down in Tucson. Perspective. Veronica's situation is the same thing. You struggle, like you've said before, like the baby, yes, was bad, but she was staring at these officers, these grown-ass men. She's struggling. Their perspective was something totally different that fucked them up. So if you're vocal and to some degree, it's a fine line. It's a fine balance. How much do you talk? How much do you not? Because in your account and in Dave's account, I say the same thing. Who's not going to be fucked up from that? Right? Who's not going to be fucked up from what you went through? Mm-hmm. Who's not going to be fucked up from kitty crimes? It's a stamp of approval that if you go to kitty crimes or you went through what Ray went through, you're fucked. So you being open, why wouldn't you be fucked up? I would be fucked up from that, right? But if you take my situation or Tanya's situation, which I struggled with, was I would do the incident envy, right? A mom screaming. This motherfucker just saw his partner get shot. Then he gets fucking shot at, right? And then all these things start to unfold, and I'm thinking, I'm less than you. Should I be fucked up? That's what I'm questioning myself. Then I start speaking on it, and people tell me not to tell my story. And I'm like, you shot somebody. Yeah, but I hear screams too. I don't want to talk about them. Don't want to think about them. Don't want to talk about them. I'll tell you about my shooting all day long, but don't bring up those demons behind that door. Right? Right? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's basically what I was trying to say, yeah.
Like you don't want that vicarious trauma that they talk about, where you're comparing. Dave would talk, and when he talked for Sarge and them out there, they get a whole view. They want the story, right? They're like, oh, fuck, you were in a room, and it was a reversal, and there was fucking 12 motherfuckers, and the shoots, bullets. In their mind, it's Hollywood.
Right.
So they're locked in. Yours is exactly the same. Right? When I hear you tell your story and I watch the audience, that's what happens. We did a traffic stop, shot Casey. You can see them living that life, man. They're just like, why am I shoot? I'm gonna attack Neil. tactical, reload with my boot. Like they're going to do all, they get into
When you
that.
say they, who are you talking about?
The audience.
Yes.
The audience of
Like
600 people.
Civilians?
No, officers, cops.
I was going to say officers are definitely doing
Right.
that, but I didn't know who you were talking about.
No, the officers. And so that vicarious trauma, you know, yesterday we were talking about training and active shooter training. And we were laughing because I said every time we had active shooter training, we were on high alert after we left. Right? Get copy of burglary. Burglary. Wait, hold on. Let me get my gun. Let me load my AR. It's delayed by 5 months. What? You never know. Active shooter. Right. You know what I mean? Because you get in that, you train that way. Right. We've done enough speaking engagements to where when we leave a speaking engagement, everyone thinks they're going to be Ray. Right? They're like, Ray got shot. They did a drive-by. That's me, Sarge. That's going to be me. Right? And I'm going to be prepared because what did you talk about on Friday? I'll tell them, don't put one of those key rings by your growing. Who thinks like that? A motherfucker that's been in shit. Right? And so when you're doing that, you want them to be prepared. You said earlier you had a routine before we started, right? Which was good. You had a routine. Okay, this guy does this, I do that. I think we all did because we were all those cops, right? Copy drowning. You're driving. Okay, drowning. A, B, C, airway, breathing. You're going through this process. What are you expecting? It's the unexpected that gets us.
Right.
Right? You know, Casey's on a traffic stop. Oh, I'm going to go back him up. He's a good dude. I'm going to go down. Then he gets shot. That's one unexpected. So right there, you're fucked. You're fucked right there. The next unexpected is the fucking drive-by on you.
Right.
Right? So now you're fucking buried in everything. It's survivable. It's not terminal. But having Sarge here, and I talk to him 2 or 3 times a week and we chop it up. And I'm always wondering, like, how was the shift? And, you know, he's had officers who we've helped, and it's the same. It's the same shit over and over and over again. And I got pissed last week. Which leads us to the last part of the topic, which is suicide. So we had an officer locally here who took his life. And he had some other problems. He came with some baggage, but I know that wasn't just the 100% of it. But what I found out later was that not just that officer, but this particular department has like 3 or 4 guys and gals on the list with absolute PTSD. It's not stopped. I haven't been there in 8 years, and they still got motherfuckers getting pushed out, right? They've made no attempt to address that, right? And then Veronica reaches out to me, and we both know that there's another department who had how many? I
think 3 is what I was told.
Attempts. They were attempts. What does that tell you, right? Like, these motherfucking people need to wake up and say, okay, what we're doing currently, having an emotional support dog rub up against my leg, is working. You know, and Jed and Joe and I talk all the time about going through what steps are you taking? What steps are you taking to keep these guys in line, right? Because I that is a genuine concern. And I don't want to dime the sergeant out or anything, but we did have a conversation last year, I think it was, about fireworks, right? And where he works is it's fucking war zone at times. And I still, by all accounts, I'd be like, yeah, he doesn't have any issues, right? But at the same time, I'm talking to him and he's like, hey, do fireworks get to you? And I'm like, not really. You know, I don't really have that issue. But it was on the heels of all those riots, right. You know, all those BLM movements and all that shit. And it dawned on me, I'm like, shit. But the best part about that was he said something. He actually said something to me, which I thought was phenomenal.
Right.
Because I was like, there you go. There you go right there. You caught it, you addressed it, you acknowledged it and said, okay, he asked the question. And even though they don't affect me,
they affect me.
They affect him. Right? And so it matters that this conversation continues because they're not going to change it, right? And you need loudmouth motherfuckers like Ray to go in and tell these people, because today's chief is, you know, somebody else's problem in 4 years. Because what do chiefs last? Maybe 5 years? You know, these people coming up like Sarge here has to set that pattern. And him and I have gone round and round. He's been frustrated, right, with, you know, they're not doing this, or maybe we should do that. But they don't ask the right people. They're not asking us. Instead, they're asking these for-profit people who have a degree, who read in a book somewhere that you need to do A, B, C, and D.
Right. And that's kind of was my issue with my department, was when I went to meet with health and wellness people. That's what I got back. Oh, well, I studied this. I got my degree in this, and I look at all my essays that I wrote and whatever, but they never had the experience, right? They just, and I had been telling them, like, you have to be relatable. Like, if you don't know what I'm feeling, why do I trust you to go? You cannot understand what I'm going through because you've never been there. And you're in charge of all of this. Like, I know it's not working because people come to me still and don't go there, you know? So it's huge.
Well, the worst is, for me, is when a fucking doctor, a clinician, or a social worker, somebody says, I got into this because I understand law enforcement because my dad was a cop. If your dad was a fucking boozer like I was and blew up every fucking bridge to your livelihood, then you can sit across from me because you know that darkness of law enforcement. But a lot of those people don't. You know, their dad or mom worked in a small town, maybe went their whole career, didn't get into a whole lot of stuff, and they just want to help cop. And I appreciate it. I do. But what I really want to appreciate more is if they let us be more vocal.
Right.
Right? Like, you fucked that up. You fucked that up. Own it. Now that you owned it, fix it. Like Tanya said, right? There's a comment box here for a reason. If I fuck something up, tell me so I don't do it again. But the departments aren't doing that. And there was a podcast, and I should put a link to it because one of the guys from West Coast that I know pretty well talked about this. And he's like, they're so far behind. How far, Sarge, are you guys? Where would you say mental health wise your department is? Would you say you're behind, maybe par for the course, or would you say that you're ahead of it?
As compared to who?
Yeah.
Your local agencies, state. We'll just say state.
I would say that we're either on par or slightly ahead. But that's not a pat on the back, because ahead is light years from where it needs to be, right? Because everybody is so far behind what they should be doing that being ahead doesn't really mean anything. You know, we might have a few things in place other places don't, so we're ahead, but we're still a long way from the goal. Mm-hmm. So it's the state of mental health and policing where it's just a bastard child nobody wants to talk about. But that's coming to roost now with all these people leaving on mental health disabilities, people killing themselves. So there's a ton of work to be done. I think we're better off than a lot of places, but we're not where we need to be.
You know, and I talked to my assistant chief before I left, because when I was leaving, he asked me something. I said, well, you know, I just thought about killing myself on Monday. And he gave me this odd look, and he's like, you're like the last person I would have ever thought I'd hear that from. I'm like, well, that's the problem. He's like, but you're such a go-getter. I'm like, that's the problem. Like, yep. Look, all your go-getters. I'm like, you're not going to have the guy in here whose biggest injury is a paper cut.
Right.
Because he's in the office so long.
The millennial who doesn't know how to cope with a fucking bad review.
And he asked me about mental health, and he brought up the retirements. He's like, I'm not bashing you. You definitely earned your medical retirement, but it can open a door for people trying to go that route. And I said, well, true, but the flip side to it also is, if you start helping people now, how many careers are you actually going to save? Yep. And how many people that just out of the blue, hey, so-and-so just quit after 10 years. That's weird. How many of those can be saved? Because you're, as I referenced during my other podcast with you, My first critical incident, I had a super minor role. But if anybody would have talked to me about it, that was in 2009. So 13 years later, 12 years later, I wouldn't be thinking about that incident still. If somebody would have just given me a few seconds of, yeah, buddy, that sucked.
Right.
And I'm with you guys with we talked about this. I went to a presentation where you mentioned credibility. So I think that's the other route the departments really need to go. I know the sergeant here brought you guys to talk. That to me makes a difference, because as a go-getter, I never wanted to hear a doctor tell me what I'm feeling. I wanted to hear that cop I told you about that took 17 rounds. As soon as I heard he took 17 rounds and he's still kicking, I'm going to listen to that guy. I'm not going to listen to the doctor with 3 PhDs.
And that was the thing, like, not to, boast on pistol, but that was really our biggest engagement the first time. And, one of the things that we had talked to the sergeant about was like keeping their attention, because this was a full day. It was 4 hours and then 4 hours. And he ended up talking about it later, saying you kept their attention. Like they didn't want breaks. Like people weren't checking their phones. And I think because some of that resonates with them, and we did. And I'm not going to get too emotional on this because I don't have my whiskey, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. But there was somebody there that night that took that step and sat with us. And we talked to him, and I told him, I'm like, dude, just reach out. He never reached out. And so I would always think to myself back then, I'm like, I wonder how he's doing, whatever. Every once and again, I'd ask Sarge, I was like, oh, really good, whatever. And then the call comes, on circumstances, he took his life. And so did we make that difference? I don't know. I like to think we did. He sat with us for a couple hours that night. He admitted a lot of stuff. There was a lot of background behind there that probably didn't help, but that bothers me a lot because their own departments they won't even go to their own departments, right? And how do we get them to come to us? And then when they do come to us, how do we get them to know that we're not the same as the different places you went, for instance, right? Like, how do we get them? Because like you said in group before you came to us, you had already went somewhere and had a bad experience.
Right.
So you associated us with every other shit, thing that they were sending people to. And we're not the end all be all. I'm not saying that. But if you give us a chance, you might find out that we're better than what your department's going to send you to, because we are not aligned with any departments. In fact, most of us hate the departments because they fucked us over so bad. If you just take time to listen to your officers, let them speak, right? I don't know what that looks like from a supervisor standpoint. I don't know that I want to hear that from a supervisor standpoint. I might have the best officer in front of me, and now this guy's going down the fucking rabbit hole he ain't coming back from. That might mean suicide. That might mean retirement. And that scares people, especially for good cops. But it also reflective, like what you talked about before. Now the rest of the cops see this. And so that's the second side of the coin, is what does brass do? Do we let them know the truth of what this career does to you? Because they ain't people signing up now, and they're offering thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well, I think that's where I scared the academy staff. So the higher-ups were in there, and you mentioned it earlier. So when I was telling all these new recruits my story, and I'm giving all the details of the shooting, everybody's into it. Everybody's sitting upright. You can see the wheels turning. They're like, oh, this is good shit, right? Because to them, it's awesome. You're putting rounds downrange. And then when the looks they had on their face when I'm telling them, fast forward a couple of years later, and I'm sitting at In-N-Out with a gun ready to kill myself, there's a completely different look on their faces. And I looked up at the command staff that was sitting in the back of the room, and their faces had changed also. But theirs was almost more out of concern. Not like, they weren't giving me that look like, oh, I feel bad for this guy. At least that's not how I interpreted it. It was more of a like, what the fuck is this guy telling our guys? That they might be killing themselves? This job might get to them? We don't want them to fucking hear that. That's how I looked at them. And I remember thinking it as I'm talking, and sure enough, they told me, we don't need you to come back. So they want And they brought me in. So this presentation, I would come in during their suicide training. So their mental awareness training is when they would bring me in. So the whole point of me is to talk about mental awareness, but it's all fun and games as long as I'm talking about a cop shooting. Right. The second I really got into the nitty gritty, no. And that's where I was trying to get to earlier. Are they afraid that I'm planting that seed, that if you're a go-getter, you might get yourself in these situations and you might have to deal with this mental trauma? Is that the part they don't want me to put in there?
Well, I don't know why it would be different. They tell you might get shot. Fuck, they tell you might get killed.
But that's almost, look back to your academy, and I was older when I went through academy, and I went through a weird academy class. More than half of us were all over 30, prior military, so we had a different mindset. But the young guys, the 21-year-olds, the 22s, oh, I can't wait to have a shooting. I can't wait till I draw down on somebody. I know you guys have all heard it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, and that brainwashing has to occur to a certain extent, because you got to take a 21-year-old who's only ever worked at Starbucks and tell him he's going to take on the game banger that's been banging for the last 20 years, who outweighs him by 200 pounds. And yeah, you're going to take this fucking dude on and you are going to handcuff him. So you do got to brainwash him, but the shootings are good, just not the trauma.
Right.
And we can't touch on the trauma because then it might make you afraid of doing your job. And at least that was how I perceived it, especially after that last academy. Like, no, you went too far. Now you're talking about killing yourself? No. Versus I was taking more of the approach of, I didn't kill myself because I took the right steps and I pulled myself. They weren't looking at that aspect of it. You know, I took the right steps. I got me out of that hole, and now I'm alive and kicking thanks to doing some work. And then I felt that's where the higher ups are failing. They should have taken them and like, fuck, Ray's good to go. We need to tell them that you can get fucked up, but you can get better.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They just saw nothing but negative.
Oh, well, they're not going to say that. I mean, in my academy class, they're like, you might get shot. You might get killed.
And I know it works because where my wife works at, one day randomly, some dude from my department walks in and he just throws out that he's a cop. And my wife's like, oh, my husband's a cop. And long story short, he finds out we're the same department. And she tells him my name and he tells me, holy shit, he taught this fucking mental awareness class and it completely changed my perspective. And now I do my job, safe. I do it this way. I'm prepared. Like he was the positive, what we're always hoping for. So I know it works because I heard it, from somebody. But they didn't want to take that positive from him.
Right.
They were just, no.
And you kind of hit on it. I think that's where it needs to be, is we're just preparing them for what could happen. We're not trying to scare them out of the job. They just need to be prepared that, look, this might happen. You might feel this way. You might need help. And I think that's where, because you talked about the shock factor, right? And I think that's like, in my incident where we were responding to an active shooting DV situation, we expected to go and get into a gunfight. We showed up and there was 5 people dead, including a baby, all shot in the head. And there was no gunfight. There was nothing, right? So we went in there thinking we're going to do this, and we found a completely different situation. But I think you guys kind of both hit on it, where you just, if they can see it from the perspective of we're just trying to, it's no different than teaching them to shoot or teaching them DT and stuff. Like, we're just preparing them for what the fuck could happen, so they aren't stuck in it. So they're not retiring. They're not fucked up for life or whatever.
Well, there's layers. What do they tell you in the academy? Before you get hired, start running. Mm-hmm. Eat properly, right? You're going to get injured on this job, and it's survivable. If you have the right mindset, you'll get shot, you'll survive, and you'll come back. Why? Resiliency. Right. But they don't say that about trauma. They don't say that about PTSD. They don't say you're going to see bad shit and you're going to be affected, but you can be resilient. Mm-hmm. And here's how you be resilient. The department's going to offer you these things to do, trauma, EMDR, whatever. And it's not shameful.
Right.
It's training. No different than if what's the protocol if you fall down and break your ankle? You got to go to occupational health. You got to fill out the paperwork. You're going to be in a cast. We're going to put you up at callback. But once you tell them and you pop that flare off that you're not sleeping right, you want to bite your gun, you're boozing it, you're no good to them. You're not.
And a lot of their trainings right now are eat right, work out, do yoga, you know, all these things that'll help you reduce stress or whatever, but they don't talk to you about when you're already in the shit, right? What do you do once you're in the shit? They don't even get to that point. They're just talking preventative in through these other ways.
Yeah, but the thing is, and this is my problem with that, you could be an expert shooter for 20 years and train your ass off, and one lucky motherfucker pops you in the head and you're dead. So no amount of training is going to be preventative of you being injured.
Right.
No amount of training is going to be preventative from you getting trauma. It's the same, in my opinion, it's the same thing. So what I agree with what you're saying, but this yoga, go do yoga. Veronica, you're probably one of the 2 people I know that fucking works out more than dealing with her fucking trauma. You got PTSD. You know what I mean? I'm sure before you had PTSD, did you work out a lot?
All the time.
And you still got PTSD.
Right.
It doesn't make a difference.
Right.
All it does is minimize the risk, right? You're trying to minimize that risk of getting injured, right? Because my fat ass is going to work out. I'm probably going to hurt myself before Veronica does. Doesn't mean she's not ever going to get hurt doing something. Just makes her odds a little bit less. But there has to be something in place for these officers. And it starts from that hiring process. And this is a whole different podcast, but you got to have coping skills. Dead bodies, you're going to see them. I don't know what to tell you. You get scared of dead bodies, you probably shouldn't do this job. Okay? You're going to have to frisk bums that stink. And, you know, you don't like it, you shouldn't do this job. If you can cope with life, everyday life, you can cope with this job. It's the big shit that they're not training them on. And they're getting the wrong trainers, the wrong doctors that say, you know what they need? They need an emotional support dog. You need to have an on-duty psychologist. And it should be me because that's a lot of money and a lot of contract that I want, right? You're going there because you need to be better, right? You're training because you want to minimize the exposure and the risk to you getting injured, whether it's physically or mentally. To me, somebody got to get their head out of their ass and say, enough. Okay, we're training resiliency with, fucking mental health because we don't have that. There's nothing there. All I go on and look now is, boohoo me, play on TikTok and, let's raise some money. But I don't want to get off on a tangent.
Well, you said the trainers. To me, that's where I think I'm the latest retired out of the group. Just been a couple years. So I saw mental awareness training starting to kick in. And we would do 2 things. We do annual training in a classroom. And then one of them was out on the shooting range where they kind of combined a real life scenario with the mental aspect. So the classroom one, it's about a 4-hour session on mental health. It's trained by a guy that has no real police experience in a critical incident that would give him any sort of cred.
There you go.
We all know he's in that position because he's trying to promote. And 3, he's reading off a PowerPoint. So everybody's on their phones. They're bringing in their work laptops. Nobody's paying attention.
Right.
Then when we do the field one, this happened after we hosted that West Coast here in Arizona. I geared up. I had to go do mine. And the real life event that we were doing that day was actually my shooting. They had turned it into a training scenario. And I was critiqued by a guy who's never been in a shooting and critiqued me how I handled that scenario that was based off of my real life shooting.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm thinking everybody that just did this training today got nothing out of this.
Right.
All they did was put some rounds down range, do some stupid radio traffic, and call it good. They didn't get what this training was supposed to have done for them. It was just another checklist on their day. I don't have to patrol for 4 hours because I'm going to go do this mental training.
Right. In service.
So I saw the changes of departments. Oh, we want to address mental health, but it's got to be by a doctor because it's liability. They can't put Ray up there to teach a 4-hour block because then if somebody goes fucking schizo, well, Ray has no formal training. How could he do this?
But we have the most training because we lived it.
Right.
What are the doctors going to say? Doctors misdiagnose motherfuckers all the goddamn time. Well, if you would have done EMDR, he wouldn't have killed himself. Yeah, maybe he wouldn't have.
Right.
But maybe he would have. And it wouldn't have made a bit of difference. right? You need to hear the truth. You need to hear it because we do that anyways. Why do you drive this way? Because you will fucking roll if you try to take this fucking curve at 60 and don't use your fucking, 10, 12 steering, slow down braking, because you will. We know that. We know if you do these things wrong, this is more likely to happen.
So they do it for everything except mental
Mental
awareness.
health.
And then unfortunately, and I won't mention their name, you know who they are. There's another group out there that's all about the money.
Right.
Well, of course.
And they're constantly, we'll put on an event for a crazy amount of cash. Departments are like, fuck no, we're not paying that kind of money. If we're going to pay that kind of money, we're going to get somebody with a degree in here instead of a bunch of fucking cops that couldn't hack it and are now retired talking about it on a podcast.
Well, that's old Sarge. He got the bargain discount from the big AC. Fuck calls up. He's like, how much you charge?
But honestly, that's what helped me the most. When I went to these 2 events, I told you about it the first time. The guy was shot 17 times. I don't know any cop that wouldn't give that guy some cred. That's okay. 17 shots, and he was still in the fight after 17 rounds.
Right.
I mean, he didn't give up. There's footage of him. Like, he ain't making this shit up. He was still fighting after 17 rounds. First one taking out his voice box. I'm going to listen to what this guy has to say. And I pulled him aside on a break. And I told him, dude, I just had a fucking shooting. I'm fucked up. And he was like, yeah, you need to do this, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I believe you. But then I went to that same organization to put on another training. And that person, I had a stalker. Somebody had arrested. And it really fucking bothered me.
Oh, my God.
So I felt that everybody, because I recommended a lot of people to that training. Oh, you need to go to this training. They put on good training. Everybody that saw that trainer that day, they got nothing out of it. They just walked out. They're like, well, I got 8 hours of not patrolling.
Yeah, that's why I'm very cautious in who I recommend. I got to spend a lot of time vetting. West Coast, I do because I've spent a lot of time there. They're not, like I said, nothing's the end all be all. But I very cautiously, I don't just say, oh yeah, call Veronica, she'll take care of you. And it's got to be something I know because I don't want to send that person and lose the credibility. Right. If they go and then somebody says something stupid, at least be able to come back and say, look, that dude was fucking worthless. You're right. Sorry. Won't do that again. Right. But it goes back to that comment box. I got to fix it. You got to tell me so I don't do it again. These other people just keep getting the money. Keep getting the money. And you know how many times we get called from people, hey, I was wondering if I get some help. I go to this one organization and I'm like, why aren't they helping you? Oh, well, they don't have funds for that. Oh, so they sent you to us.
Right.
Well, they said you were good. Good for what? Money? I got a checkbook? And that pisses me off because I'm like, we had this discussion over the weekend. Like, you need money and you're coming to me and I'm not your friend? Where are your friends? Why aren't your friends giving you money? Right? But if you come to Pistol, I don't think we've turned anybody down. They always get it. And it's getting to a point now where these other organizations are getting more money and they're holding it longer. And then they're like, oh, well, you don't really meet the criteria. So you know who you should call? You should call Pistol and those guys. They got money. They're not going to say no. Go fucking leech off them for a while. But make sure you talk about us. Make sure you tell your friends about us. So Sarge, I appreciate you coming down. Did you want anything you wanted to add before we go to the after party? The after party's at your place. Nice shit.
Any closing thoughts? It's cool to be in this room with you guys.
Yeah.
I would say that you're ahead of the game because you're actually wanting to do better. You're paying attention and you're asking the questions and figuring out, okay. So I appreciate that from you, whether your department's ahead of the game or not, at least you're trying.
There's somebody there.
Yeah.
With some authority to make some difference.
Right. So thanks.
Hey, I want to touch on, in October, I shared a post. We had 120 officers who'd committed suicide. Towards the end of October, we're at 137. Less than 2 months, 17 additional officers that are documented.
See, that shit it should not be happening. Should not be happening. You should be able to tell people, suicidal thoughts doesn't mean you're going to do it. You should be able to say,
and you know what? That's what I said when I reached out to the department where I'd heard a few officers had attempted suicide recently. And the guy that I had reached out to is a good friend, so he's kind of why I reached out to him. But he said he's like, oh, I think I would have heard about that by now. Like somebody would have told me about it or whatever. And my response was probably not, because when I had my issues, I certainly wasn't going to go to someone that's kind of higher up in the department and say, hey, I'm feeling this way, because you're not sending me to the crazy house because I'm having these thoughts, right? And you're not.
Tanya's been to the crazy house a couple times. Shit, she's okay.
But you're not going to take me off the street because I felt this way tonight. You know what I mean? And so after I had asked him, I was like, okay, bad person to ask, because really, they're not going to go to their department. They're not going to go and say, hey, I was thinking about, or I tried to kill myself. They're going to tell their whatever counselor they're seeing, or if they're working with an attorney because they're trying to file a workers' comp claim. Those are the people they're going to share it with. And that's who we heard it from. And that's why he was like, oh, no, we totally would have heard that by now. And I was like, oh, never mind. I'm asking the wrong people. Like, you would not have heard this from them.
Yeah. Well, I do. Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, closing thoughts. I would like to go to Midwest, maybe do a presentation out there. I do think it needs to be continuous on a serious note.
I think so, too.
You know?
They're not ready for you out there in the Midwest.
I'm ready for them.
They could barely handle Dave. Sarge might be ready for you, but I don't think you walk in, you start talking shit like that, they're going to be like, who is this motherfucker in it? Twice, Sarge has brought some people in here that done piss people off. Bring back Ray.
So, Ray, if you're willing to do speaking engagements is it on behalf of Pistol for donations?
Definitely.
That you're willing to do that? Okay.
I've done them for free.
Okay. You ain't doing that anymore.
Don't lowball him like we did.
Yeah,
Like
we
he's like, what do you?
But
Sarge is like, hey, what do you charge? I'm like, what are you paying?
You've gotten smarter since then, right?
What? Fucking double cheeseburgers. Fuck yeah, we're it.
well, when I've done them, and I used to do them, for the people that cared, they would always catch on the fact that I came back. You know, I didn't just immediately retire.
Right.
And that was always, I would try to key in on that. Like, you can get work, you can be productive, you can get better. And I'm loosely using that word because you do get better.
Right.
You know, and I had a friend that was constantly like, well, it's my PTSD brain. It's my PTSD brain. Well, don't use it for a cop-out either. Put in some work.
That's the difference.
If you put in the work, you're going to be okay.
Right.
Like you're not, it's not terminal. But
And
you got to put in the work.
Right. And I would always try to sell that. Like, yes, I got it. Yes, I thought about killing myself, but I'm here because I did the right steps and I didn't kill myself and I had a further career.
Right.
And I also touched on, and I just did this at the last one, it probably drew the most attention. I took it too far though. I was taking on too much trauma because I had all these new tools. Oh, I go to group and I go to therapy and I do this so I can just fucking load me up on trauma.
Yeah.
Right? I can handle
I'll eat it up like Cookie Monster.
And I, along the way, I lost, I'm not following these steps.
Right.
I'm putting in more than I'm getting rid of. And that eventually ended me. But for a long time, I was really able to focus on it. And I would see the positive, like, yes, I was at In-N-Out's 2 bites away from killing myself. And I was able to change it, have a career, and now have a semi-healthy life.
Right.
So it's not the be-all, end-all. Let's get our guys some help and stop having an end career soon and people committing suicide, because we can get better from it.
Yep.
You know?
I know people always say, they say that we're happy, right? Do people tell you that? Like
Yeah, we're totally different.
not.
I mean, if you would have talked to Ian, and so everybody that's in this room right now, I saw at their worst. They didn't see me at my worst, but I did, and I can tell you,
I wasn't that bad.
tremendously, yeah,
right.
tremendously, your leaps and bounds way better. I mean, there's things that you guys do that you couldn't have done before. You know, drive across town to meet somebody you've never met before that you knew listened to the podcast. I mean, this is the shit that when somebody says grassroots starts it, this is the kind of shit that does it. But it's got to constantly have a perpetual state of motion forward, changing, because it's going to be nothing but that over and over again.
Well,
right?
I think part of the problem is that some of, like, I've seen guys come through and are at their worst, but over months, right, you see them start to improve, you see the change and whatever, and I think sometimes they start feeling better, and so they stop with the work. They stop putting in the work because, well, I'm so much better now, and they're done, and then, they find themselves in a shithole again. And what they were doing before. They blame everything, right? Well, I went and it didn't work because I'm here. Well, no, it's not going to work if you're not continuously trying to improve and trying to get better.
Yeah, the one that runs as fast as you know. Fucking. She says it. She's like, I gotta go, people. I'm a little triggered. I'm running.
She's like, don't do what I did, but do it.
Yeah. Well, today was a prime example. So Sarge was in, and God bless your significant other, because, you know, just like us, you jumped on a fucking plane to go across fucking country to meet a bunch of fucking crazies. And I drove him around the hoods today, from the East Valley hoods to the fucking West Valley hoods. And even now, 8-9 years late out of my critical incident, I found myself going different ways because I didn't want to see certain areas. Now, he didn't know that. He's just in the fucking projects going, where the fuck's this Mexican taking me? Right? But, you know, that's what, in my opinion, I consider valor. That's the what we need is people like you that are still there, because we have to live through you. You know what I mean? You and I will text each other all the time, and I'll want to hear some cool stories and stuff. But the fact that you're willing to make that trek is letting these other officers know that you're willing to take the steps, so why don't they? That's why some of those officers will reach out to us, is because you've put that in their head. Just like what Ray was talking about. Yeah, I thought about suicide, but I didn't do it, and I did these things to get out of it. Right? Because I've heard the thing, go work out. You'll be better. Well, it's 8-9 years later, and I still can't take somebody to Mesa.
Okay. Suicide. So Ray thought about it. I had a plan. Did you? I did too. Veronica did. Manuela.
I was just happy drinking.
You were going to take off some motherfuckers, and then,
I was homicidal. But I mean, the doctors did say, like, you know, my doctor was like, did you ever think you were trying to kill yourself with liquor? And I was like, nah, not really. Didn't really think like that. I mean, technically, I guess if you count that at my worst, I probably could have easily drank myself to death.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I was actively trying.
And I got a last question for the Sarge. Do your guys know you're out here? Or do they know you're involved with mental awareness?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And to me, that puts you miles ahead of everybody, because Manny knows, even though I don't come to group often at all, how many guys from my agency have shown up after I started coming here.
Oh, far more.
Because I just talk about it nonstop. I'm not a punk bitch. I work fucking hard. I'm a go-getter, but I still had issues. And I would, how I talk now is how I talked at work, which didn't go over well.
Yeah.
But guys would see that, and I'm hoping they do that with you. Like, well, shit, if Sarge is talking about it, I guess I should talk about it. And that's how these guys that I refer to Manny was, because I would text Manny, hey, so-and-so should be calling you. And then I would check a week later. Did so-and-so call you? No, he didn't. Oh, okay. I'm going to text this fucking dude.
Right.
Because I referred a lot of people here, because they would reach out to me because they're like, Ray, we've heard you talk. I'm having, yep, I got you, buddy. You know, so I think I wouldn't downplay when Manny asked you earlier, you know, how far ahead are you or the department? If your department is above average, then you're miles ahead of your department, because having your guys hear you talk about it should open a few doors.
Well, that's the thing, Ray, specifically when you say you give other officers Manny's information and then they never call. Okay, we can't babysit you. We can't make sure that you do what you need to do to be able to take care of yourself. So at some point you have to man up and bite the bullet, not in that way. Sorry, Ray. That was real bad.
Swallow your pride.
That was fucking,
Whoops.
wow. And she pointed at Ray.
She said bite, not
As soon as
swallow.
it came out, I was like, that was real bad. But you have to be able to follow through and do what you need to do for yourself. We can help you, we can show you, we can do, but if you ain't gonna do it.
But we got to get that first step.
Yeah.
Manny knows it's a true story. I stared at that phone for about 4 hours. That's no lie. For about 4 hours, I stared at the phone. Like, am I going to fucking do this? Am I going to do it?
Oh,
I was going to say, he stared at the phone several times, didn't he?
Yeah, well, not only that, but it took him, what he's not telling you is it took months. Like,
It took a year.
Yeah, I would call, you all right? Yeah, I'm not totally sold on what you guys do. I'll get back with you. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll keep checking. Mm-hmm. Right, and then I wouldn't hear back and check. Yeah, no, everything's good. I'm back at work, and, I'm still not 100% sure you guys are, I don't think I need it, right? And when he did come to group, which we had great times with him.
Oh, yeah.
He would come to group, and we would be talking, and we don't always talk about our critical incidents, but Ray was one of the few guys that was in uniform. The department was kind enough to let him do it, and he'd be finger fucking his gun all like. And I'm like, are we gonna get attacked here? What the fuck's going on? And his fucking legs going 8,000 miles an hour. But we don't give up on you. If you give up on yourself, and I tell people this, you guys have heard me say it, if you sit in your shit, I'll come sit with you. I don't have a problem doing that. But I'm not gonna sit in there so long that it stops stinking, and then I start carrying that fucking stink with me. I'll sit with you. I'll let you boo-hoo it all day long. Depending on where you're at in your PTSD, I'll probably let you boo-hoo for a good 6-7 hours, sometimes 8 if it's fresh. But if you're far along and you're not putting in the work, I'm going to be sitting with you for about 45 minutes. I'm going to be like, dude, I got some shit to do. You know what I mean? Like, I got something, like, even if I don't, like, I got a video game to play. I got something to do other than sit in your shit, right? And there's too many options out there to do it. So, again, Sarge, with you coming out, I appreciate it. You came out solely to hang out with the homie, and he got it. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way that I thought, because we were both
A little sick.
a little, no Rona, right? He lands, and I'm like, hey, bro, it's allergies. I don't have allergies. And then, like, the next day, his eyes are all glossed over and shit. He's like, oh, hey, can you bring me some fucking Tylenol for my head? I'm like, dude, we didn't even drink that much last night. So you're always welcome. You're always welcome. Make sure you come back. I would go out there, you know, and it's a little cold. I'm not going to lie. You know, I told him, he was like, hey, what's the weather like? I said, dude, just shorts and flip-flops, bro. Don't even sweat it. And we haven't changed one bit. So I appreciate you coming out here. It means the world to me that you would take the time, you know, extend it to your wife, your kids. You know, they let you come out here and hang out with a bunch of fucking crazy strangers pretty close to the border. Before we go, I want you to tell a quick, brief story about last night after I dropped you off, about what you thought would be a relatively good idea. So I'll set it up. So all day yesterday, me and Sarge and Tanya are hanging out, smoking cigars, having a good time. And we were a little under the weather. I knew we were going to do this podcast, so I'm like, I want them as fresh as possible, not too tired. So we called it early. We had cigars, then we went to eat, went to a brewery, had some, what was the name of the fucking beer? Mexican vanilla. This motherfucker orders me a Mexican vanilla. And so we have a good time.
It was fitting.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I was like, hey,
table.
Yeah, if me and your wife have a child together, it'd be Mexican vanilla.
It should have been Mexican vanilla lesbian.
Yeah. So we're up from like 12:30 to like almost 7. We're all hanging out. And I'm like, hey, we're going to cut it short. My wife's not feeling well. We're going to, well, first of all, he wanted to get in the Chomo van. Of course, I'm in the back. One lesbian, a white guy, and a Mexican get stuffs in the back. And so we call it early. We drop them off at the hotel, which is literally a couple blocks from my house. I'm like, all right, bro, I'll see you in the morning. And, you know, some stupid text goes back and forth. And what do you decide is going to be a good idea?
Well, I needed some supplies. So I went and got some orange juice for the morning to go with my burritos. Updated my meds. Got some cheap whiskey, a little bit of pop. Needed some supplies.
Yeah. Now, did you take a main road or did you take an alley?
Oh, jeez.
Well, I'm not from here. So I do this smart thing, and I pull up my map app, and I scroll around until I see, oh, there's Safeway. It's 0.2 miles away. So I walk to the front of the hotel, and I go, I'll hang a right. I remember driving by there. Here we go. So I start down the road, which is, it's not lit. It's dark. I think it's actually a road, not an alley. But at nighttime, it looks like a deserted alley. And so I'm figuring, I'll see a couple homeless guys rolled up. Whatever, no big deal. So it's, to get to Safeway, it's end of the block, hang a right, and half a block you're there. So I'm walking along, Don't see anything. Nobody around. Dodging the little mud puddles. And a car passes me. I'm probably 150 feet from the corner. And a car passes me. I don't think anything of it. And it gets to the intersection, and there's no traffic. And it's not going. And I'm walking, and then I see it, wheels turn to the right, and it pulls to the curb. And I'm like,
That's a clue.
I know this setup. I know what's going to go down. And so I get probably 30 feet from the car. I see the windows come down. I'm like, I'm either going to get sold something or jumped. And so I'm walking by the car, and I look in, and I make sure they know that I know what they're up to with a look. And I get to look back, and I turn and walk down the road. And I'm walking, I'm waiting to hear that quiet door click, right? Not looking over my shoulder, just waiting to hear that click. And the click doesn't come, and plenty of traffic's gone by, and I haven't seen that car yet. So to my right is a business, and there's a little retaining wall. I'm like, all right, I'm going to walk in the parking lot behind the retaining wall in case some rounds come down range. I'll have some cover. Like maybe throw some rocks back or something. I don't have a gun. I'm out of the state. And so I get to the Safeway parking lot. And I do the slick move where I stop and like sit in the bus stop and look over my shoulder to see if I can see where they're at. And I can't find them anywhere. So I'm like, all right, they must be gone. So I go in the Safeway and get my stuff, and I'm texting him. And I'm getting ridiculed for not asking for a ride to leave my hotel by 0.2 miles. That's it.
Oh.
I walked back home.
Yeah.
And then Daddy yelled at me.
So
All of that for that?
no, so this is what pisses me off, right? I'm in charge of this guy. First time he's been here, and you know, his wife is a big supporter. And I'm thinking to myself, this motherfucker has no strap. He has nothing. He's not.
He heard me tell you that Frenchie said, don't go to the QT.
Exactly.
Right across the street.
He was right there.
Yes.
And I'm thinking to myself,
And I was like, this
this motherfucker, you know, I'm 2 blocks away, bro. Like, at the very least, you ain't a little kid. Like, I have extra gun. Like, I could have tossed you a strap for the fucking, if you want to take a fucking midnight stroll. I don't live in the hood, but shit. And I was like, man, this, and I'm like, man, that's all I need.
You are hood adjacent.
You are very
Yes.
Well, I am hood adjacent, but I'm also under your flag adjacent too. There's not a whole lot of violent acts coming out of the Rainbow Valley. You know what I mean? So I was like, what the fuck? So all night, I'm like, I felt like exact what he said. He's like, I'm home, Daddy. I was like, yeah. So all night I'm in bed going, is this motherfucker going to get out of bed and take a stroll? And now I got to fucking go. Like, he doesn't know anybody here. Right. He doesn't know any phone numbers. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? So I thought it was a funny story. And I'm just like, what? I've been to your city. It's small. It's not very big. I wouldn't have walked out by myself without calling you. I mean, call me a pussy, but shit, I'm like, I don't want to end up dead in a cornfield somewhere or a potato field or fucking